So missiles like the IRCCM and AIM-9X and whatever missile they add in the future updates, including in this one that we already have a confirmation of the IRCCM coming for an AA system, will be one of the best things ever in the game, in the terms of IR missiles. But why is that? Is it only the maneuverability and energy? No, guys, the IRCCM, I think, will be the most deadly thing ever. So let's talk about IRCCMs a little bit and explain why these missiles will be so good. Before we get to that, I just gotta thank everybody that's been donating for the goal that we have to help the quality of the channel, to help me personally, of course, to improve the quality of the channel. So yeah, thank you guys. I already talked too much about this, but yeah, I've been seeing a lot of people donating, so thank you all. You guys are amazing, really amazing. All the messages, I'm reading everything on PayPal as well, so thank you guys. And yeah, let's get going, okay? So missiles like the AIM-9M and the R-73 and any other missile, if you go in the game over here, you can see that they have yes on the IRCCM. But what is this actually, right? And what are the differences that we have in these IRCCMs that we have in the game? So if we go in this amazing, spreadsheet that was made by Kopani or John Wick and Zabi as well, you can go here to AAM's IR all aspect, and you will see some differences over here. If you go to, for example, the AIM-9M over here and go to IRCCM type, we have an IRCCM, and then what is the type? Seeker shut off. What does that mean? Well, we have another type as well. If you go to R-73s, for example, yes, we have an IRCCM, and it is the FOV type. So what does that mean? Well, the first FOV one is pretty simple. We have a normal FOV in the missile. So in this case, let me see where it is, the number actually, because I have to check. It is basically a normal FOV 4.5 degrees. So it's a pretty big opening of the seeker for it to actually detect stuff with IR guidance, right? And then once he actually gets a lock, this 4.5 degree will become 0.75. You cannot see this visually, but it will happen. So for example, here you can see the 4.5 degrees. Once you lock a target, it doesn't change. But to be honest, it would be something like this, 0.5, like this little circle that we have in the middle there. So it basically gets smaller for you to actually be able to fire the missile. This is done just after the lock, okay? And what this will create is basically after you launch the missile, or even before, when you get a lock, everything that it's in there, flying around, or flares or decoys or everything, the missile will ignore it because it's not seeing it, it's not detecting it because the FOV is so small. So basically making the R-73 in this case, that's the Russian missile, be able to ignore 100% of the flares once it's actually in that smaller FOV, especially in the shorter ranges. Of course, if you go away from the target, the circle is the same 0.75 degree, but the circle gets bigger because the target is further away, right? Or rather, the target is smaller. So you can actually see stuff that it's around the target, right? So this is a very interesting IRCCM, and it works kind of like that. While, for example, the other type that we have, that it's the seeker shut off, for example, present in the AIM-9M, will basically turn itself off whenever it detects something else. This can be tested, for example, here in the test flight, because you cannot lock the sun, for example, because it's basically turning itself off. It will try to go for the target, but since it's not a target there, it just turned itself off. It's not really tracking, okay? So this idea will be the same. So you will lock a target and you will fire the missile. If the target fires any flares or chaff, it will just fly with INS, turn itself off by a millisecond, turn itself on again, and it will continue to fly to the target. If you fly erratically, changing directions and stuff, and get away from the FOV of the missile once it's off, you can make this missile miss, making sure that in the shorter ranges it can be easier to flare than an R-73, for example, but making it be way better in the longer ranges as well. And in the shorter ranges, it's not bad, it's just a little bit easier sometimes, okay? And that's kind of how both of these IRCCM works. One of them turn itself off it doesn't care that something is on the FOV. It will just turn itself off and on, waiting for that decoy to get away from the target, you know, and then it will reacquire the lock and continue to fly. And the R73 type of IRCCM, the Magic 2, you know, it will basically make the FOV so small that it's more improbable to actually get a flare or decoy or a missile or anything inside that area because it's so small. Okay, these are the two types that we have in the game, and they are very good, but they are very easily fooled if you know what you're doing, especially the AIM-9M and the R73 from longer ranges. But then we have something else, right? If we go here, for example, in one of the helicopters that we have in the game, the Z-19, we have something over here. We have something that it might be one of the best missiles in the game, the TY-90. It says that it has an IRCCM, but if we actually go back to this spreadsheet over here, and if you look here, AAM IR Heli, you will notice that all these missiles, the Iglas, the Verbas, the Stingers, the Mistral, the Attas, right? The TY-90, they are all having IRCCM, but the IRCCM is the FOV seeker shut off. So they are using both systems. What it means is that it will have an IRCCM that is smaller, as you see right here, than the proper field of view. So for example, in the TY-90, it has a 3 degrees of field of view, and then it has 1.25 after the FOV IRCCM, after you get a lock. So it's already less likely that inside FOV you will have those flares, decoys, or whatever. And also, once you detect ones, even if it's smaller, it will basically turn itself off, making sure that it's the most impossible missile to avoid. If you played against TY-90s, it's impossible to avoid this missile. It really is one of the best missiles we have in the game in the terms of IRCCM, and all of those are amazing, but the TY-90 in particular is amazing. I mean, once it was actually added, this aircraft was used very much by many players on squadron battles, just because it was so strong to kill aircraft, because nothing could defeat this IRCCM. And this is the type of IRCCM that you can expect from an IRIS-T. Why is that? Well, according to the latest rumors and leaks and stuff, we actually are going to probably see the IRIS-T having this type of IRCCM. Does it have that in real life? No, it has an imaging infrared seeker, which is completely different than this type of seeker. But in the game, apparently, they're going to be simplifying this. We don't know yet. We have to wait for confirmation. But apparently, it will be like this. And it will use the same type of IRCCM that TY-90 is used. But remember, guys, this is a very low-range missile. This is a missile that doesn't have a lot of speed. It doesn't have a lot of turn. It only turns like 20 Gs, and it has a very low speed. It's basically a manpad. All of these missiles are basically manpad. So they have very long range, very low energy, and low turning capability. But they have an enormous amount of abilities of ignoring decoys, right? The IRIS-T will have, on the very least, 50 to 60 Gs. We will need to wait to see how Gaijin implements the missile. You will have an enormous amount of energy, and you will have this type of IRCCM probably being better than the 1.25 Seeker. It will probably be even lower than this, making sure that the IRIS-T will be the most unavoidable missile in the game. So yes, missiles like that, if they are added, they will, right, in the next patch for AA systems, will be the hardest missile to avoid if they are like this. Is it that a good thing or a bad thing? That's up to you, basically. Do you like CAS or not? Me personally, I love to see these missiles in ground battles, because something like, where is it? Something like this exists in the games, you know. So since we have KH-38s in the game, I think it's only fair that the ground has IRIS-Ts and stuff like that. If we didn't have this, maybe it was something that we can talk about. Maybe it was too much, but guys, we have the KH-38. We have missiles that are way too powerful even to be added to the game right now without a counter, and they are already in the game, so why not add the counter, you know? So yeah, this is great. So in my opinion, I think it's great, but expect the IRIS-T to take a little bit of time to be added for aircraft. Missiles like that will take a little bit of time, I think, just because of those reasons. They are going to be impossible to avoid almost, and they're gonna be one of the hardest missiles to be against, but you're gonna have ones as well. So the first one that gets shot, the shot out, will be the one that gets the kill, right? So it's a very hard missile to avoid, and this is what you should expect from missiles such as the IRIS-T and other ones that we're gonna get. Okay, amazing missile. Cannot wait to use them. It's gonna be fun, especially in a ground vehicle. Even if they lose a little bit of performance or a lot of performance, they're gonna be fun. But basically, this is it. I don't want the video to be too long. I see you guys on the next one. Make sure to subscribe. Thank you all again. You guys are awesome for the donations. And I see you guys in the next one, probably tomorrow. Unless we see some news today. But yeah, see you guys. Bye.